Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to another bookish video. Today we are shooting in a little bit of a different location just to change it up a little bit, keep it exciting. Let's dive into it today because we have got some frequently asked questions for that people ask me, that people ask a lot of different book YouTubers or a lot of bookish girls out there might get this question quite a lot. And every time I tell people that I love to read, I do get a lot of these questions. We have, I think it was 25 questions. So we're gonna dive in. So question number one is, what is my favorite book? Now this is kind of tricky because there are a lot of good books out there that I love and I have a lot of 5-star reads, but for some reason this particular book has stayed with me for so long. It is the first book that I would recommend to other people. I think it's just so beautiful, well written. It is a romance book, has adventure in there, has a big plot twist that I did not see coming. I think this particular book just ticks every single box, and it can't not be perfect, and it can't not be my favorite book. So my favorite book is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros, which is actually the same author as Fourth Wing, which is crazy to me. This author can write such good, incredible fantasy, romantasy books, and then also write this beautiful, almost poetic romance book. Yeah, it's kind of insane, but I love this book. It is a 5-star, and as I said, if you have not read it, go read it because it is just amazing. Question number 2 is, who is my favorite author? And I think I would have to say Emily Henry is my favorite author. I love every single one of the books that she has written. Every single book that she has written has been 4 to 5 stars for me. I love how she writes. I think it's so beautiful, and I think she's so good at what she does. I also love that it's not there's not too much swearing in it, and there's not too much spicy scenes in it. And yeah, I love it, and I love how she writes, and every single book that she writes I will pick up and read because I know it's going to be good. And I think that's when you fall in love with an author, is when you know that any book that they write you're gonna love. What am I currently reading is question number 3. I am currently reading The Secret Society of Witches, or The Very Secret Society of Witches. I'm reading this in preparation for a book that is coming out in April, which is about witches and innkeeping, and I am just excited about this. This is a cozy fantasy genre, and I have recently fallen in love with cozy fantasies, and I think they're my new favorite genre, to be honest with you. But I'm having so much fun with this book, and I will be finished reading it by tonight. Question number 4 is, what is my most recommended book? Which I've already said, which is The Things We Leave Unfinished. This is a romance book, so if someone tells me, hey, do you have any romance recommendations? Again, that's the first book that I would recommend. Now, if someone was like, do you have any fantasy recommendations? I would also say Powerless. Powerless was such an incredible book. I think it's easy to follow along. It's not as high stakes. And I think if people love that kind of thing, it's also a death game as well, which is horrible, but it's more fun to me than something that's like ACOTAR, actually have a game within it. I think that if people like Powerless, that they would also enjoy reading other fantasies as well. I usually read romance. Genre do I usually read is question number 5. I usually read romance. That is my number 1 genre, but as I said, I have been getting more into fantasy, and especially cozy fantasies at the moment. Well, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. Okay, the most impactful book that I have read, apart from the Bible. Honestly, there's a few, and I think because of the time that I read those particular books, they honestly had such a huge, massive impact on my life and have helped to make me the person that I am today. And that is basically any book written by Sarah Knight. She has written 4 books, I do believe, like self-help books, that they would be included in self-help books. Now they all have swear words in them, but I say get your stuff together. The life-changing magic of not giving a second thought. There is You Do You. You Do You is actually the first book that I had read by her. I love this book. It's about doing what you want in life, basically. I think a lot of us can get caught up in the mundane of working a 9 to 5 and doing all these things and buying a house and whatever, but You Do You is about breaking that and being like, well, if you don't want to buy a house and if you don't want to work a 9 to 5 job, you don't have to. Just because that's what majority of society is doing doesn't mean that you should have to do something that you don't want to do. Basically, that's what You Do You is about. Get Yourself Together is much more of an adulting 101 book. If you are in your early 20s or your late teens, this is when I would read that book, because it's like you have to get it together. If you are forgetting keys in a wallet, there's something wrong. I would say that any book by Sarah Knight has really impacted my life. However, if I was to choose just one, it would be 101 Essays. If you have not read this book, you need to go read it. It is 101 essays about life, and I journaled my way through this book. I would suggest you do the same because it really digs deep into your life. It just helped me to think differently. Question number 7 is, what book am I looking forward to reading next? I would probably say that the book that I'm looking forward to the most is the second in the Emily Wilds trilogy. The 3rd book has just come out and I need to go get it like ASAP, but I haven't read the 2nd book yet. So I am gonna hopefully finish this Secret Society Witches book tonight so that I can start my 2nd Emily Wilds book. The 8th question is, what is your favorite book cover design? And I actually have it right here, and it is this collection of Emma, and it is just so beautiful. The bow as a border as well is stunning. The gold lettering, the spine is so cute. I love all the beautiful plants and how they intertwine with the letters as well. This is just such a beautiful cover to me. And when I saw it, I needed it immediately to be on my shelf. This is the back as well. So she's stunning. I would love this to be like a sprayed edge, but nothing can beat this cover. She's beautiful. The next question is, what is a book that surprised me? The book that has surprised me, it was a book that my husband had actually gotten me, and I'm just going to try and get up the author for you, because this book really surprised me and I did not expect to love it as much as I did, and that is The Whisper Network, or Whisper Network, by Chandler Baker. This book is a bit of a murder mystery. It follows 4 different women who all work in the same, I think it's a law firm, and they all work for this particular man, and then this particular man ends up being dead. They're being questioned by the police on what they know and what they think happened, basically. I did not expect to enjoy this book at all. I don't read mysteries, I don't read thrillers, I read mainly romance and romantasy, so I was not expecting to enjoy this book, but I actually gave it a 4.5 star. I could not put it down. I actually was really enjoying it, and the twist was great. So if you have not read that book and you want something to surprise you, I would say reading this book definitely surprised me. Do I prefer physical books, ebooks, or audiobooks? This is so difficult because I love all 3 of them, and I have learnt to love all 3 of them. I think at the end of the day, I love physical books. I love the feel of paper, I love turning a page, I love getting off my electronics, I love having a bookshelf and having all of my books on the shelf. So I think overall, physical books are definitely my favorite. I love the smell of the paper, I love going to a bookstore, all of that. but I have learned to love my ebooks. I have learned to love my Kindle because of just how easy it is. The fact that I can bring this tiny little thing everywhere, the fact that I can lie down in bed and read it is just perfect to me. I have also learned to love audiobooks. I have a really good narrator. Audiobooks are great, and I think that they save a lot of time because you can do other things while also listening to the book. So I've learned to love all three. I really have, but physical books are definitely my favorite. This next question kind of links to the question about what books like changed my life. It is, what is a book that has changed my perspective on something? And I would say that's 101 Essays. It taught me a lot about life, and it also taught me a lot about knowing that I am okay, if that makes sense. There is a chapter or an essay in this 101 Essays that really has stuck with me, and I remember it all the time. And it's kind of like, if you have clothes on your back, you're doing okay. If you have a roof to sleep under tonight, you're doing okay. If you are not living paycheck to paycheck, you're doing okay. And I think in this world of needing everything and wanting everything right now, and wanting a big house and wanting these particular clothes and wanting all of that, I think we can get just like so consumed with that where we're thinking that that's where we need to be. But actually having the clothes that we have and having the roof over our heads that we have and not having to live paycheck to paycheck is all okay. So it's like you're doing better than you think that you actually are. What is the best book that I have read over the past year? I'm trying to remember what I've even read over the past year. I think I read Fourth Wing in this past year that has been. I also think that I read the Powerless books. I'm not sure when they came out. Like Powerless, Reckless, Powerful all came out. So I would probably say Fourth Wing and Reckless. I really don't know when I read those books, but I think that they might have been last year. I would definitely say those books. I love those books. They were 5-star, and I read them in a matter of a day. So that's how I know a book is really good. And I think those I have read in the past year. The next question asks, am I a rereader? And I can tell you that I am. There's only a few books that I actually have reread, but this year I'm trying to reread a few more, or I've bought the book on my Kindle and bought the physical copy because now I need to highlight them. So there's a number of books that I need to reread. However, the books that I have reread so far is The Love Hypothesis, which I've read 3 times. Charlie, Love and Cliches, I have read 2 times. I think that might be it. But there's a lot more that I would like to reread. This question a lot of readers get, and that is, how do you find the time to read? A lot of the time I will read at nighttime, but I also have always been the type of person that, like, if they were at school, they've come home, they had to chill out for an hour to get into something else, or they've come home from uni and they've had to chill out. I literally have to do that after work. When I finish work, I like shower, I get comfy, I make myself a cup of tea, and I sit down and I read. So that is like my downtime. That's like my recharge point where I'm like, okay, I need this time to recharge in order to get any other work done. I also find the time to read at the gym in between sets. And again, at nighttime is when I generally read. Even on weekends, I will get up, and as I have my cup of tea in the morning, I will read. So there's a lot of points in the day that I will be reading. I love reading. And I think when you truly love something, you always want to be doing it. So you just find the time to do it. Do I have a reading routine, and does it change often? I think that just links with where I find the time to read. As I said, when I come home from work, I like to decompress and read. Same with my reading at nighttime. I will generally read until I literally can't keep my eyes open. Is there a movie based on the book that you like more than the book? This is so hard. Okay. There's a lot of Nicholas Sparks movies out there. that I like grew up watching, but I've never read the book. So I feel like I can't relate to that more than the book. Okay, oh my gosh, this is so hard. Okay, I love The Hating Game. The Hating Game with Lucy Hale in it. I've watched this movie so many times, and of course I have the book and I love the book. The book has so much more in it, but I think I love the movie just for how fun the movie is and how cute the characters are. When I read that book, I was just picturing Lucy Hale and the male actor in this movie because it's so cute. So I think I would say that I probably like the movie more than the book. But of course the book has more in it, but I've watched that movie an unhealthy amount of times. The question is, do I mark up my books while I read? And this says like, do you doggy ear them? Do you underline things? Yes, I definitely do doggy ear them because I have like one bookmark, and that's not enough when you're trying to read 3 books at one time. So I definitely mark them up in that way, and I also do underline. I love certain quotes or little scenes. I definitely do that now. The next question is, if I could date or be best friends with a fictional character, who would it be? I would like to date Kai Aza. I think that would be the one I would like to date. Be best friends. I think I would like to be best friends with any of the girls from the Dream Harbor series. They just seem like so much fun to hang out with, and they're all really cute, and they all live in this like small little town. So I think probably from that series, any of those girls, I think I would love to be part of that friendship circle. I think that would be a fun time. How do I get out of a reading slump? When I'm in a reading slump, it's generally because a new TV show that I love has just come out, and I watched that for like a week. That's kind of it. I also had a reading slump, I think last year as well, where I was just disappointed because every single book that I picked up was constantly like a 2-star, and I couldn't find anything that was above a 2-star. Like I just kept getting disappointed and disappointed and disappointed. So I think if this happens, I reread a book that I love, or I just wait until a book that I know I'm gonna love is gonna come out. So for example, say that I was in this reading slump, but then Reckless came out, and then when Reckless came out, I was like, okay, we've had a 5-star read, I'm good, I'm ready to go back again. So I think that is probably how I get out of my reading slump. The next question is a fun one. It is, would you rather read one long 900-page-ish book or 3 short 300-page-ish books? And I think I would say three short 300-page books. I love a short book. I do not like long books. You have so much to say, and I'm probably not picking up half the stuff that you've said. So 300 pages is great. Quick, easy read, get it done, move on to the next book. I would much rather that. That's such a fun question though. This one is thoughts on prologues and epilogues. This is an interesting one. I don't think every book has to have it. I think for epilogues, if it ends and it ends well, you don't need to have an epilogue. Like, we get it. It's fine. They fell in love. Move on. We know that in half of the epilogues that people are either gonna have a baby or they're getting engaged. It's like one of the two things. Unless you're introducing something new that's gonna be in the next book, I don't think an epilogue has to be there. I think it's fine. They've fallen in love. Let it be. I know that they're gonna get married and all of that in my head. So I don't think it's necessary. Prologues, I like a prologue. I actually do like a prologue. I like to be set up for the rest of the book. But in saying that, I also think that a lot of people don't write them, and I think that that's fine as well. I think if you have a good first chapter that introduces everything that you need to introduce, I think that's okay, and that's fine with me. Next 2 questions are actually really hard for me to try and figure out, my answer to, and that is, what was your favorite character development and which fictional character do you feel the deepest connection with? I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Favorite character development, like I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. Which fictional character do you feel the deepest connection with? I also don't know. I'm not sure. I really don't think that there has been a character where I have completely connected with. I think we're still trying to find those two. Very excited to one day answer those, but at the moment I don't think I have an answer for them at all. Okay, so now that you've gotten to know me a little bit more, I would love to know your answers to some of these questions. So pick any one of the questions that I have talked about and leave a comment for me down below, because I would truly love to know what your thoughts are on this. I think I will definitely break this up and put this on my Instagram. If you are not following me on Instagram, it is nats__nook on Instagram. I've just kind of started posting on there a lot more regularly. So yeah, you can follow me on there and get all of the bookish updates. But of course, I will continue to post weekly on my YouTube channel. If you have made it this far, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more weekly videos. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.